And welcome once again to Living in the 21st Century. Joining me once more is Vasil Shevchenko, former Transportation Minister of Ukraine. Vasil, it's always a pleasure to have you on.
Thank you for having me.
Beautiful, beautiful. We got quite a bit to talk about this morning. Apparently, it seems that Donald Trump had stepped up capability of Ukraine, giving Ukraine the ability to strike deep into Russia. He granted European $850 million sale on Iran missiles, which could reach a target range of 240 to 450 kilometers or 200 miles deep into Russia. When that would have granted by President Trump, apparently systematically Putin like he went ballistic, because it is understood up to last night that he has stepped up bombardment in places like Kiev, Dnipro, Kharkiv, Sumy, Donetsk, etc. Why do you think he's going this crazy and hitting so many cities at one time?
First of all, I'd like to start my answer from the type of missile which were promised and were prepared for Ukraine's fighter jets to prevent Russia's blow Ukraine's territory, because distance 200 miles from the point of launch, it's not far from battle line. And first of all, it was a deterrent type of weapon which was prepared for Ukraine forces just to prevent Russia's offensive, maybe in the past. Now we can see that the situation at the battlefield has changed. You know that during the last few years, Russians managed to capture Ukraine's territory less than 1%, thanks to military forces strength and mostly thanks to focusing on type of defense, maneuver type of defense, and weapon which is produced in Ukraine. But nevertheless, to answer for second part of your question, I'd say that last events at the battlefield are reflecting at the Russia's image, and that the Russia's military troops which are unable to move ahead. And because of it, they have started launching Ukraine's territory big number, first of all, missiles and long-range drones, Iran types producing in Russia Federation, and they most of these targets were intercepted Ukraine forces, and it seems to me only few percent these missiles, first of all, ballistic missiles, managed to target infrastructure object in Ukraine, and very often when they are using mixing type of blow, they can achieve results, and we can see that results. Russia's blow, it's fighting with civilians. You know that type of drones and ballistic missiles and cruise missiles were prepared for fighting with warships, for example, with strong military objects, but they are targeting residential houses. 2 days ago, they shelled Kiev, and they killed more than 20 persons. More than 20 persons, and more than 50 persons were wounded. And We can see that type of they are focusing on spreading horror around Ukraine just to demonstrate that they are able to kill civilians, and it's type of war, and it's all we can understand about Russia's army and Russia's type of negotiations concerning ceasefire, peace agreement, etc. Because their actions are based on lie. Sorry.
Well, I'm glad you get to that point, because I meant to ask you this question. Recently, I think it was last week, that Zelensky, President Trump, and European allies would have met, and it seems as soon as this meeting was over, everything that would have went out of order between Putin and Trump before, when apparently they would have made some form of significant progress, that was thrown right through the window. Apparently nothing would have happened there. Far from that, up to last night, more than 450 drones would have rained down on these places that would have called, like Kharkiv and Dnipro, Sumy, Donetsk, etc., and Kiev. With this going on, do you see Putin have any interest in really stopping this war? What would be a strategic plan? Because apparently Zelensky and the military are going to have to come up with some strategic way to draw down on this war. You can't allow Putin to have the say when it will start from when it's not going to, or when it should proceed. What you think should happen despite of all this? Because it don't seem like President Putin has any intentions of stopping this war at all.
Yeah, you are right. Russians are not interested in ceasefire and peace agreement. First of all, they haven't received any recommendation from China. They rebuilt their industry for military way, and they are not empire. This type of war is shame for Russia's army, and they are interested in holding under control Russia's population, and they must be involved in war. And this type of relations they have demonstrated concerning negotiations with Donald Trump. I think it's type of special operation, because when we can see that in these negotiations are involved persons who are not specialized for negotiations with the Russia Federation. And I mean Mr. Witkov, who was unexpectedly invited for discussion in Russia Federation concerning proposals to United States. And then it appeared that something was mixed, and Russians were not interested in withdrawing troops from the region from which initially were promised to leave. And as a result, we could see that these negotiations haven't done any results. It's negotiations just for wasting time, because they are not interested in it. And I think that if they have any recommendation concerning ceasefire, it's their meeting in China. You know that China has appointed celebration their victory in Second World War in the Indo-Pacific. It will take place in a couple days.
Do you think that the first meeting with Putin and President Trump in Alaska were designed to manipulate Trump's head? Do you think it was to forge a fictitious relationship from the standpoint that it gives the go-ahead to continually bombard Ukraine or destroy Ukraine. I try to say it a little bit further different here because a lot of Russian soldiers are killed. Over 1 million soldiers are dead since this war would have started. There's a depletion of men in Russia, so to speak. And he has to find alternative means in getting, whether it's North Korea or China, assist him in battle and on the battlefield. With that being said, knowing very well that America have given privilege to the European nations to now accommodate more than $850 in artillery that could reach deep down in his boundaries, do you think it's some form of playing in Putin's mind, like to wage a nuclear war? And I keep asking this question because this man has no respect for human lives. He is engaged in all kind of humanitarian crimes. He's just a serious dude, right? What will stop him from doing something, going nuclear? He doesn't respect the NATO rules and regulations, nothing like that. Sanctions ain't working, nothing. Diplomacy ain't working. What would he go for? What would he do next?
First of all, I'd say that concerning meeting in Alaska, it was, it seems to me, wrong way to cooperate with the Russia Federation. You know that before he was isolated, he hadn't visited any country except a couple visit to autocratic countries. And I think that maybe United States President had hopes for this meeting, for outcome, and the signal he received from Mr. Witkoff maybe gave him a chances to demonstrate that Putin can follow it and can decide to stop war, to suspend it, this military operation. But it's wrong way because Trump faced with full-scale lie, and it was prepared from KGB experts, and because of it, it was trap for him. And as a result, he was unsatisfied this meeting, and he lost his hopes for positive outcome this meeting. And then Russia actually demonstrated that they don't care for this negotiation heavily bombardment Ukraine. It was answer, and it was answer for the negotiations. It's answer for the questions which were discussed. And then they decided to invite him to Moscow just to involve him in deeper relations. But all this action, it seems to me, it's a wrong way for the negotiations with the Russia Federation, because you know that people who's killing civilians every day, who's targeting residential houses, and these persons are not respected around the globe, and unexpectedly they will follow the recommendation to sign a peace agreement with United States President. They estimate it like United States weakness. And because of it, their answer for any negotiations took place concerning ceasefire. Next day, we have more and more heavily bombardment. Then we can see that Ukraine's answer is effective the only way when Ukraine forces are targeting military infrastructure inside Russia Federation. Just imagine that now Ukraine's forces have eliminated more than 20% Russia's refineries. And now Russia Federation has no enough fuel for ordinary work for military forces, but nevertheless they are limiting civilians and sending fuel from the far east to the battlefield to Ukraine. And Ukraine forces are fighting more and more effectively, and I think that it's good sanction for Russia's action in Ukraine. And then you know that Ukraine's forces Ukraine's military industry demonstrated that Ukrainians company produced long-range cruise missiles about 2.5 mile distance, which can be targeting different type of military infrastructure, and this missile has warhead 1.150 kilos warhead. And it will allow to eliminate more easier, but we don't have enough of it. But it's only way, it's only language Russians understand it, and because of it, when we speak from the very beginning, which way is better to stop this war, it's help Ukraine with a weapon. And now Trump has changed his opinion, and now Ukraine forces have weapon only from European partners, which is bought from United States, and them Europeans are supplying from own storages, from own in military industry to Ukraine, if it's possible, because you know that European Union has problems concerning Hungary, for example, whose leader is similar to dictator. And then I don't think that why United States president decided to communicate with Belarus's president, because it's dictator similar to Russia Federation. I don't think that they will respect this conversation. They will treat to United States leaders worse than before, because they don't respect this kind of negotiation if it's happened before their defeat. And in this case, I think that we have a lot of challenges, and nevertheless, Ukraine forces are holding battle line, and you know that before negotiations, Russia's troops sent their special operation forces groups to penetrate to the depths for 15 kilometers, and Ukraine forces surrounded it. It was good news for media that Russia forces managed to move ahead for 15 kilometers. But after that, these troops were surrounded and were eliminated. But nevertheless, media received good ground for discussion.
Do you foresee in the future where Ukraine can deeply penetrate into the boundaries with new ambition now? Do you think they can weaken Russia from the inside, where they can cripple them from the inside? I know that you say they are destroying a lot of their refineries, But what about production plants? Is there a possibility that Ukraine would be able to do that?
I cannot say that Ukraine forces will be able to eliminate all their refineries and storages and maybe ports facilities from energy sphere, but Ukraine's forces will try to do it just to weaken enemy, because the good sanction for Russia Federation its defeat at the battlefield, but we have no enough weapon to drive them away just now, and we can see that our partners are not ready to provide us extra weapon, extra fighter jets, for example, weapon for fighter jets, and we have enough. It's more or less for defense forces, but Russia can stop war in the case they are getting under sanctions and their economy condition is rapidly worsening, and now we can see that they lack money at the end of year. According to the specialist I have heard, they will have they will need more than 100 billion at the end of year just for fulfilling all their promises, and the same situation will take place in next year. And I think that Russia's president count on China's leader, but China is not ready to confirm that they are ready to support Russia Federation, because they are satisfied current events to Russia Federation, current events with the Russia Federation, and I think that it's good for them, because they have received a lot of control about Russia's natural resources, and they are having energy resources according to the low prices. And now they are using and discussing re-establishing new world order. Now it's they will try to do it. They will try to promote this idea again, and we can see that China is ready to use Russia Federation to provoke before negotiations concerning world order. And I think that maybe negotiations with China, between United States and China, will have more or less positive outcome, but nobody knows, because we cannot understand what type of policy is being promoted by Donald Trump and concerning China. And I'm afraid that this action cannot lead to success if it's done without serious partners, without European partners, without partners in Indo-Pacific, and without partner who's on the United States side. And nevertheless, we will see the results of this meeting in China. We can see that all European leaders will not go there. Only 20 countries from around the globe will visit China for this meeting. From the very beginning, they will have meeting, so-called Shanghai Organization meeting, and after that they will have military parade. And I'm upset that India will participate in this meeting, because India is ready to cooperate with China, and they will try to establish new relations just after short-term conflict between India and Pakistan. And now we cannot forecast what will happen next, but I'm not sure that it's good idea for India. But maybe we should have, maybe United States officials should have communication with the Indian to persuade them that cooperation with the Western countries is more profitable than with autocratic countries.
Is there still standing adequate medical facilities to take care of the injured civilians? Why I ask this is because the war is supposed to be among soldiers against soldiers and nation against nations, but we see innocent civilians that this war is more targeting innocent civilians and housings and so forth, which can present quite a bit of casualties. So that's why I ask you, is there still adequate medical facilities to take care of those injured?
But now I'd say that our medical forces are penetrated in civilian light, and many Ukrainians have had drilling courses concerning first aid and how to help people with damages, and very often people are having first aid at the same place and very often are ready to support each other. And for example, I'm driving in my car and I have in my bag first aid package and for any case. And my family members knows how to give first aid. And I think that many Ukrainians are ready to help each other, because we are living in war condition, and every day something happening. We are trying to have more or less normal life, but it's very often it's quite difficult to do after heavy shelling, because when you don't have electricity or don't have enough service, you are unable to feel better.
Absolutely. Yeah, well, we come to the last minute of the program. Vasil, it's always a pleasure to have you on and bring us update as to what's going on in Ukraine. And to all those who have been tuning in or living in the 21st century, have a great day.